ゲーム
So this doesn't quite fit the context, like it needs more context to make this work. Duolingo needs more context, more than your roommate needing AirPods. For example, let's say you're gonna write about this problem on an internet forum to ask for advice from total strangers because you have this lonely girlie who doesn't have any friends. Then you'd use が and say, ルームメイトのゲームの音がうるさいです。The sound from my roommate's game is loud. I also added 音 sound because it sounds better to me, but I wouldn't say it's wrong not to add 音. And when you're describing what's going on like this, you'd use が. And you'd use は. There's actually many situations, but for example, when you define something, when you describe a property or nature of something or somebody, for example, 星野愛はアイドルです。I, Hoshino, is an idol. So you could say being an idol is one of her properties, attributes. But video games being loud is more like a situation. You can turn the volume up or down and adjust the sound. So a video game being loud isn't necessarily an inherent property of the game. But if you're talking about a video game being popular, 人気, you might use は and say, このゲームは人気です。This video game is popular. But if being loud is a property of the game, you can use words like 爆発 to add more context and say, このゲームは爆発が多くてうるさいです。This game has a lot of explosions, so it's loud. And here, you have enough context to justify は because having Megmin blasting explosion magic every day makes the game inherently noisy. And another way of using は is for contrast. For example, you can use 静か quiet, 時 when, and say, 私のルームメイトは静かだけど、ゲームをするときはうるさいです。My roommate is quiet, but when they play a video game, they are noisy. So this is contrasting は. And there's many other ways of using は and が, but Duolingo doesn't actually know how to use は and が, like it aggressively consults みんなの日本語, which actually doesn't teach you proper ways of using particles in the first place. The difference is みんなの日本語 does that intentionally, but Duolingo does it unintentionally. So this is like a blind leading the blind situation. And there's another piece of culture here. Roommate is understandable, but in Japan, we don't use this word a lot because it's not super common to live with a stranger. Siblings, maybe, but even with like cousins and relatives, it's really not that common to have a roommate in Japan. I mean, it's possible, but it's less common than some other countries. So I can give you more examples using うるさい. If your kid is playing music and it's very loud, you can tell them, うるさいよ. You're noisy. Or if you're talking to your colleague about construction noise, you can use 工事 construction and say 工事の音うるさいですね. The construction noise is loud, isn't it? Or if you go to a bar with your colleague and people are noisy, you can say ここうるさいですね. It's pretty noisy here. Or if you just finished your meeting, 会議, and you guys were loud, you can say to another colleague, 会議うるさかったですか? Were we too loud at the meeting? いや、大丈夫でした. No, it was okay. And if you acquire natural and practical Japanese, maybe you can join my email group because I have both free and paid lessons where you can learn Japanese with natural but easy and properly contextualized examples. So click on the link in the description or on the screen and subscribe to my email group, Japanese with Yuta.